Welcome back, everybody, to Sims Complete. I'm your host, Matt Sims, along with my other co-host, Phil Sims, and it's been a very
Oh,
active offseason here so far in the NFL world. Again, the NFL world is just dominating just everything that there is in sports right now. It doesn't even matter that's the offseason. It's still exciting, a lot of moves being made. But we're going to start today going back to this quarterback draft class. We're going to talk about Joe Milton of the University of Tennessee, the volunteer, and also Devin Leary, the journeyman who ended his career well, actually, both these guys are journeymen, but ended his career at the
yeah.
University of Kentucky.
Whoops.
And excited to talk about these two QBs, Big Phil. But first of all, before we get started, how you doing, player?
Hey, player. I'm a player, all right.
You are.
I'm doing well. Look, I'm excited. Listen, we're kind of going down the board with these quarterbacks, and we want to. I think we should honor them all and talk a little bit about them, what we think. And I think there'll be quite a few drafted. And hey, it's good to talk about Joe Milton, Devin Leary here today. They could be anywhere from fourth round to seventh round to free agents.
Yeah.
But you know, I like. I feel good about what I'm going to say about both these guys. How about you?
Yeah. Well, I think Brock Purdy has really kind of humbled us all too to now to not
Oh,
overlook anyone, right? So
yeah,
when we watched and did some of the breakdown for these two individual players, and even for my year at ESPN, just staying in tune with college football, Joe Milton and Devin Leary, seem to pop up consistently. Why? Because they played in the SEC, and I feel like when you play quarterback
good
in the
point.
SEC, you're always going to be discussed and talked about, and occasionally maybe over critiqued because of that conference. But at the same time, these guys have played against a lot of really good football players in that league, and they definitely have been battle tested. We're going to start with Joe Milton here. And Joe Milton, journeyman himself, transferring from Michigan, going to the University of Tennessee. Only a 1 year starter in his college
Right.
career, even though he's been in college, like a lot of these guys, he's been in college for a long time now with COVID, with the NIL, all that stuff. But, your first impressions from Joe Milton and what you saw from his film, because you got kind of excited when you saw some of his film.
Yeah, I think him and Devin Leary both have been underrated as far as the writing. I read stuff online sometimes about him, and I just go, "Damn, that's not the guy I just watched." Uh, so, and it's so. I think so many people. I'm not gonna say that. I don't mean to, this is not negative, but it's all about the statistics and how many games they won. And as I said in all the other shows, I'll say one more time: I'm judging him, the guy. I'm not judging his team, his coach, his teammates, anything like that. But the first thing that jumps off right away when you watch Joe Milton, it was better than I thought it was going to be. I don't know what I was expecting. Maybe, this big guy who can run some, pretty good runner, but has a powerful arm. He's just going to throw all these balls down the field, and I'm probably going to just wash it away. But it was a little bit of the opposite. I thought he was much more accurate than I thought. He plays extremely big. He can hang in the pocket, throw with the first thing I'm watching him playing Florida.
Yeah.
Florida gets a guy running free, is just going to wipe him out, hitting him in the chest. He falls backwards as he's getting hit and throws a 30-yard strike down the field. And I said, okay, we're off to a good start here. And, but the other things, real quick, yeah, I think he throws the screens behind the line of scrimmage. I think, I know it sounds so simple, but you and I know it's a little more than that. And I thought he did a really good job with that. And I told you about the stand in there, can take the hits and throw. I thought his decision making was good, maybe not great, but it was plenty good. And overall, just the other thing I like too that I always talk about, throwing the ball deep down the field. When you're throwing those go routes down the sideline, he throws them far, but he throws them really high too. And just think about the defensive back that's running with that receiver down the
Yeah.
field. He's going, where? I can't, but what? And then the ball's so high. And I talked to so many DBs about this over the years when I was doing games. It's panic time
Yeah.
when the ball stays up in the air that long.
Right.
The DB's going to panic. And I saw it tons of times. So that's just a few of my thoughts just to start. And as you can see, most of them were positive.
Yeah, well, it's exciting too because he is someone that I think has been a little bit. It's either you like him or it's not at all, right? And I guess what are like the few key things to you why for you as a GM of a football team, why are you intrigued late in the draft to find a quarterback like this still available? What would be one of your main reasons why you're like, hey, let's take a chance on this
Oh,
guy?
because the upside is great.
Right,
He did beat out Hendon Hooker at Tennessee, but then Joe Milton went out there, and I think he got hurt in the second game the year before. So that says something.
right.
Hendon Hooker had a great year and would have been drafted much higher than he was if he wasn't injured. But let's see, Joe Milton, size, arm strength, can run, can stand in the pocket, read defenses. It wasn't like he looked at one guy. He can look to the right and find the guy coming in from the left side. He did all that, I thought, really well. He got to throw enough passes to get more experience, and he became a better passer as I watched games later in the year, if that makes
Yeah,
sense. I think he finally got enough experience, enough throws where he relaxed and he became I thought he was you know, good to really good short thrower.
right.
All the short routes, the out routes, the quickies, all that stuff. So he's the guy I would want to draft in the fifth, sixth, or seventh, because I'm not looking right now for a backup
Yeah,
quarterback. I'm looking for somebody that maybe can really jump and catch something special late in the draft. So
right.
just the physical traits alone, it would be enough for me. But also the play, I think, gives me more confidence too.
Yeah, and he's a guy that, like I said, he started at Michigan. Now he finishes at Tennessee. He essentially had been in college for just about 6 years,
6
and
years, yeah.
with that though, doesn't have the accumulation of reps and stats the way that a Bo Nix, a Jaden Daniels, and some of the other guys that we've seen,
Right.
throughout his career. Does the lack of experience is that going to hinder him and the reason why he is a fifth, sixth, or seventh round quarterback?
Oh, sure, sure. It definitely will. And that's why, look, I'm looking at him in just one way, that he's going to be a late round draft pick. And if I'm there and I feel pretty good about my quarterback
Right,
situation. I know we got the backup. I like our starter. I'm looking for the surprise, the gem. I'm not looking for a guy, he can call the plays in the huddle and get us in the right formation. I don't give a crap. Can he throw? Can he run? Can he make
right.
plays? But I love that one. He's going to be really good in the huddle. Bull
Well, I like
crap.
he's good in the room too, Yeah.
Oh, he's great in the
Yeah.
room, and man, great in a room. That's so overrated. Uh, but again, I'm just trying to. I won't name other quarterbacks who had successful careers, who had lots of experience, but they lack a physical trait that's going to give them a chance to be a good NFL quarterback.
Right.
That's my big thing.
Yeah.
What trait is going to make him good? Don't give me this. Well, he's just smart. He just knows how to play.
Yeah.
I need more than
He's
that.
just a winner.
I, yeah, he's a winner.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, nobody wins at Oklahoma or Alabama. It's so. But what do you think? What else do you guys say about
Yeah,
Joe,
well,
real
I
quick?
want to go back to this too. I feel like just paying attention to him, specifically as the player, the individual, and even something that I think Tennessee could have maybe have done a little bit more for him is utilize his athleticism. I do think that he is a little
Yes.
underrated as an athlete, as a mover, as a runner, and that's where I think that experience factor is big for him. I think if he
Yeah.
had a few more reps and games under his belt, we would have saw some of those plays and that ability from him more naturally in football games. As the year went, like you mentioned, you started to see that Tennessee had those designed runs, those little check with me's where it's like either throw the screen or run the quarterback draw, right? Or even just
Right.
him naturally scrambling and getting yards. There was a few games where you could see he's outrunning people, getting to the outside and running for long touchdowns. So this is something to me that we didn't see enough of it throughout his entire career. We know that he's capable of it. And now the question
Yes.
is, in an NFL locker room, with an NFL scheme and offense, can he continue to tap into that ability? Because we've seen how important that is. So his athleticism to me is very underrated and is definitely one of those things that right now we haven't really seen exactly what it can be at the next level, which I think, in some cases, his athleticism, I think, transfers to the NFL level very well.
Yeah. I'll say this. It's up to him.
Yeah,
He is raw. He has to go upward in what he's doing as a
yeah,
quarterback, and he's just going to have to be tough and work hard. And you're going to have to do a lot of it on your own
right.
because the NFL teams, they're paying attention to the starter and they're working the second guy. But after that, man, you just got to
Yeah.
be a sponge, listen, work hard, go out in the field when practice is over, and keep trying to truly elevate who you are as a quarterback, as an athlete, as a passer, as a thrower, all those things. I'll say this too. I'm gonna get this off my chest, Matt, um, real quick. The combine.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
you're Joe Milton. Okay, we know it. Hey, he looks great. He's got everything you want, and he's got a really strong arm. So let's try and throw with touch. What the hell was that?
Yeah.
Don't show him the incredible arm strength on the. So, the first I don't know how many throws, I almost turned it off. He's throwing them out there real soft. I'm going, who is this? Why would you do that?
Yeah.
Show off your greatest skill at the combine.
Right.
All of them. One, none of them can drop worth a damn. That's amazing. You go to camps, you're paying guys money, and we drop back like we're dropping on ice.
Yeah.
And I don't want quiet feet. I want loud, aggressive, feet that are going to help me get in position to do what? To throw that damn ball either soft or throw it with great power.
Yeah, you want to see
So
their athleticism displayed, right, with their drop, getting back from center because
absolutely.
these guys they're not tiptoeing quietly back there when the game starts, right? I mean, you're essentially you're getting back there pretty aggressively, behind that NFL line of scrimmage, especially if you are under center. Even though a lot of guys, in offenses that aren't keen on that drop back from under center often, but you want to see that athleticism and that transfer of ability from under center to the throw. And you're right. I think Joe should have just doubled down on what he's great at and really just showed I am
Accentuate it.
the alpha
Yeah.
dog as far as throwing power throws, throwing to the sideline, throwing it down the field. He did that on the go ball, that's for sure. He kind of sat on the one go ball and bombed it. And
Yeah.
I honestly would have advised him to triple hitch it and just throw it as far as you damn well could have in that situation.
Well,
But I
yeah.
do agree. I think that's where JJ impressed a lot of people, even though he wasn't perfectly accurate on every throw. He cut it loose and he showed that he had tremendous power and arm power and whip to his
Yeah.
motion. And I think that excited a lot of people when they saw that in person compared to the other quarterbacks.
Yeah, it caught my
Yeah.
attention. Even the ones he missed, it's not about completing the pass. I think they get caught. I'm talking about the out route to the
Yeah.
left,
Right. Right.
and it's just not as far a throw as you think. Just drive it right at them the whole
Yeah.
way. But most of them missed high because I think they just misjudged how easy of a throw it
Yeah.
was.
Right.
And yeah, so that's well,
And,
it
and
always
that's why the combine's funny though too, because even the announcers at times, who we respect and all the work that they put into it, of course, right? But just ooh, he missed that one behind. Oh, that was a good miss. I have a tough time deciding, sometimes when they decipher what a good miss and a bad miss is at the combine. But it's just it's whatever they choose it to be for that particular rep or who is actually throwing the football. But Joe Millen, I think, he's a project. There's no doubt about it. Final thoughts, real quick, though. His motion and his mechanics and kind of how he goes about throwing from the pocket. Now, I will say this quickly. Don't think that he was a great thrower on the run or as good of a thrower on the run as someone as talented as he is. And I think that's because his arm gets a little too it almost has a mind of its own. He doesn't stay connected with his body enough when he's throwing on the run. Now in the pocket, certain throws, the Florida example, like you mentioned, you see that he does have that ability to really stay connected with the
oh
arm and have that whip action with his arm connected to his core. Whereas in other times, I feel like it's very, it's a little too handsy of a motion. What are your thoughts on that?
time will take care of that.
Yeah, yeah,
It doesn't take much,
right.
and we'll talk about some examples of this later. But if you really want to be a true NFL quarterback that has a chance to start, and if you get that chance that you can get it done, then it just takes work, and you got to figure it out yourself too.
Right.
You can't always have somebody standing there. So figure it out for yourself. And that'll be interesting to see if he does. It seems like he's very dedicated to making this work. I saw him when he was at Michigan, and I thought, "Ooh, this looks pretty good."
Yeah.
Then he would throw the ball, and I go, "He throws it so hard, nobody can catch it."
Yeah.
I'm like
Right.
serious, and that's kind of the end there.
Yeah.
Uh, so, but yeah, he's worth the risk. That's why I wanted to bring him up and talk with him about to you,
Right.
just to I was a little surprised
Yeah.
when I watched the film that he's just got more potential than I thought. Just trying to watch him during the year, occasionally here and there.
Yeah,
So,
and a part
uh,
of that too really is the fact that Tennessee exceeded expectations the year before. They had this fantastic year. They beat Alabama at home.
right,
Everyone goes crazy. They're basically on the road to a potential, playoff berth and national championship. And it's just kind of hard to fill in the shoes of a team that was really built perfectly for that specific year, and then
right.
was missing a few pieces the following year to kind of make that same exact run again. And that really isn't on the quarterback there. But again, plays one of the positions where it's easy to kind of put the blame at the quarterback. But Joe
Well,
Milton's
it
got,
depends.
yeah,
Yeah. No, I'll say this. Yeah, blame the quarterback or make an excuse for him because he doesn't have the same guys he had from last year,
right,
right?
right.
And like I always say, I don't care. I just it means that doesn't mean anything to me. Yeah, if you play for the Arizona Cardinals, you're not going to probably your quarterback's probably not going to put up the numbers the quarterback does in San Francisco because the opportunities are more, they have more, it's better, it's easier, whatever you want to
Yeah,
say. So same thing happens in college
no
too.
doubt.
So let's go on to Devin
Let's
Leary,
get to Devin Leary.
Kentucky.
Hey,
Yeah,
Kentucky,
another
but
one.
hey, he's a Jersey boy now. He's a Jersey boy.
I know, I know. Well, let me tell you, he's Jersey tough. Holy shit. He's
Yeah, go ahead,
oh my
elaborate
god.
on that. Yeah, so
Oh, he's just tough. I mean, he will
6'1", two
he
seventeen. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, he looks bigger than on the field.
Right.
You know, he looks big. He looks like I would have said 225.
Okay.
I mean, he's not afraid to take a hit. His ass can stand in there, and he's looking for the big throw.
Right.
To hell with the check down. I'm gonna hold it and try to smoke an in cut, a corner route, goes. I mean, I think I was just having fun watching him going, another big throw.
Yeah.
You could have thrown the outcut for 15, but you tried to rip a 40-yarder, and it was hilarious to watch. It really was. I said, let me just watch him. I've heard really nothing good except he's got a good arm at the combine.
Right.
And as I started watching him, I go, this is an interesting guy. This is a guy that has some traits that gives him a chance in the NFL.
Right.
I think he's more mobile than I read some of these evaluators because I'm just starting, and I read their comments, and then I watch him and just go, sorry, I almost knocked my headphone out. He's a little more mobile than I thought. Moves around to throw it, buys time, can throw under pressure. And I'll tell you, Matt, I thought his arm, it's NFL, it's above NFL average.
Mhm.
That's how I kind of usually judge it.
Right.
NFL average plus, whatever. And I gave him a big plus on the other side. He can really make the big throws down the field with power. And I thought he was more accurate than he was given credit for too.
You definitely see right away, just from watching the games this season, that the dude definitely has the ability to push the football sideline to
Yeah.
sideline and down the field. Right. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Guys got a strong arm. I do think that, like similar to Joe Milton, both of them occasionally they get a little too lax with their arm, right? Especially with Devin, I feel like his arm length got a little too aggressive at times, and that's why you see the ball flutter away from him a few times on
Yeah, it
throws
does.
where you
Yeah.
would expect him to make that throw, but I think he's just throwing. He's almost got the Baker Mayfield syndrome. He's just trying to throw it so damn hard that he loses control of the football occasionally. Decision wise, though, what did you think? Because I thought he's a pretty good decision maker for the most part. And again, North Carolina State for 4 years, Kentucky for his last year. So,
Right.
new offense, all that kind of stuff. But overall, I thought his decision making process was pretty solid.
Yeah, I watched him. Yes, I think his decision making was solid. Yeah, and I think you made a great point. He really gets a kick out of throwing it hard. I mean, Baker Mayfield was the great example because Baker, even this past year, as good as he played, there were like 3 plays a game. I should have saved it for later. 3 where he just throws it so damn hard, it's just not going to be
Right.
complete. You know, but what was I going
But
to say about
that
Devin
is
Leary?
a quality that you, as an evaluator, myself, and I think a lot of other people in the NFL too, depending on the offense that you play in and coach and all that, you do value that type of ability to have that, right? To
Yes, I
to
do.
aggressively fit it into tight windows, in crunch time situations. This is why Baker Mayfield, to me, is one of those polarizing players too that, just not a lot of people appreciate how physical he is on the football field for an undersized guy, how strong he can throw it down the field. And Devin Leary kind of shows that ability. He also kind of, here's another little comp with Devin Leary. I almost saw like a little Gardner Minshew
Oh, yeah.
aspect to him too, where it's like,
Yes.
ooh, this is ugly. This is ugly. Oh, that was a good play. So I think that's also a good trait to have, especially if you are a backup or third string quarterback, because we know very well, right, that the late games and preseasons, I know that all too well, is just they're kind of disasters. They really are.
Right.
I mean, I had
Right.
one time where I was dropping back in a preseason game, and our four string tight end was my right tackle once. So
Oh
that kind of
gosh.
just shows you that stuff happens in these preseason games. And I think Devin has that ability to be a great playmaker and improviser and will really thrive kind of in that environment as he gets more experience.
Yeah. Last thing I'll say about him is this: he's not a check down Charlie. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
He's not worried about his completion percentage. He's trying to execute the play that is called. And if you forced him, yeah, he would get rid of it short. But most of the time, he was trying to drive it down the field. We talked about how tough he is in the pocket. I think the other thing is the whole field is wide open to him. In other words, it doesn't matter where you are. I think he was playing Tennessee when I saw this play. You know, the hashes in college football are much wider than the NFL. He was on the right hash, caught the ball, did the drop and whatever, and he threw a 12-yard speed out all the way to the left sideline. And the corner looked like he was going to get the break on it, but he threw it so hard he got it right by him.
Yeah.
And which is that's that used to be the mark of NFL quarterbacks. Can you throw that out cut
Right.
and hit the sidelines? And we don't see as many sideline throws as we used to, but it kind of came back this past year. So it's another thing he has in his repertoire, whatever you want to say,
Yeah.
and his ability to do that. So it'll be interesting. I would think he, of course, last thing is he will be a late round pick.
Right.
I would think he could be a free agent,
Yeah. High
but
priority free
he's going
agent.
he's going to go into training camp or practices and OTAs, and I think that skill of throwing the football, you want to make that great first impression. It's real.
Right.
And he goes out in the field, and everybody's going to come in after and go, "Damn, I didn't know he had this good of an arm."
Right. Yeah.
And so that's on his side, and he's going to have to, of course, perfect it even more. And we always say, when you're in the NFL, if you make it 1 year as a quarterback, if you come back the next year, you're not throwing it better, then I don't know what to tell you. Goodbye.
Yeah. And this is a
We
guy
just
too that's 5 years again, like we said, the first four at North Carolina State. Difference between him and Joe Milton is the fact that he has accumulated a lot of reps and experience, and
right a
really
lot.
the highlight of his career was in 2021, where he completed 65% of his passes, threw for 3,400 yards, and had 35 TDs and 5 interceptions. So I think a lot of teams when they're evaluating, they'll kind of look back through his history and see that there's a lot to like about his playmaking. And there was even some talk, in that 2001 time frame,
Yeah.
like a lot of other quarterbacks really through the years, where he was in that consideration of a early first, second, third round discussion. And of course, just college football and the life of football. It's tough sometimes with the environment that you're in to kind of continue to be successful. North Carolina, made some changes. They kind of, essentially asked him to leave, right? He had to go and basically start
Sure.
anew. But he's
Yeah.
got a lot of reps, a lot of experience. He's battled through injury, been through this adversity, and has really proven that he has a skill set that applies to the NFL. And I think will
Yes.
be very intriguing for some teams late in this year's NFL draft. So that's all we got
Yeah.
for.
No, let me clear
Okay,
this
go
up
ahead.
real
Yeah,
quick.
go ahead.
This is easy. When we talk about the throwing, you mentioned it, and I do too. When the arm gets long, and it's real. The longer your arm gets, the weaker you're probably going to throw the football. So compact. It's like we always refer to it this way. If you're going to punch somebody, do you swing your arm way out and try to hit them? No, you go right at them and you rip through it.
Right.
And it's the same as throwing. So for everybody's, oh, what do you mean his arm is long? Or keep it a compact gives you more power, which sometimes it's hard to believe in your head, but it's a fact.
Yeah.
Trust me.
No, it is. It is.
All
So
right.
really, we'll see what happens with these two guys. Definitely two quarterbacks that we'll be keeping an eye on throughout, their careers here early on with the draft process. And obviously this year coming up in preseason should be an exciting time for them. That's all we got, Sims Complete fans, for another edition of the quarterback breakdown here in the 2024 NFL draft. I am your host, Matt Sims, along the big effer, Phil Sims. And check out some more stuff of us on Believe Network and also at the Sims Complete YouTube page. You can follow Big Phil at Phil Sims. At Phil Sims QB on Twitter, at Phil Sims QB on Instagram. And I'm just Sims Complete on all of those, man. So just like, subscribe, check
Okay.
us out on the Believe Network and Sims Complete YouTube page. And we'll see you next time for more quarterback breakdown.